A fire eater. That's right, because you asked for it. Television's greatest all-time request show brought to you by Skippy, America's largest-selling peanut butter. If you like peanuts, you'll like Skippy. And here's your host, Art Baker.
I want to congratulate you right now on your colossal imagination. Believe me, you have sent us letters requesting the odd, the unusual, the well-nigh impossible, the spectacular. Which brings me to this first request I want to get at right now. This is from Donald Lee Edwards of Wathena, Kansas. A very short letter, but believe me, spectacular and action you will see. It says, "Dear Art, I would like to see how it is possible for a person to eat fire. Sincerely, Donald Lee Edwards." All right, Mr. Edwards. One genuine fire eater coming up because you asked for it. Give you Navarre the Great, the last of a renowned family of fire eaters. That history goes back way back to Napoleon's days. That preliminary there was just, shall I say, a warm-up, because I want you to be prepared to be amazed now at what Navarre will do. First, he will consume 5 cigarettes. Lighted, of course. Watch. Have you ever burned your finger by having a match or two in a paper matchbox catch fire? Terrific heat. All right, 5 packages complete. 5 times 20 is 100 paper matches. And Navarre will now consume and swallow the flame from the 5. Now, the flame from 5 torches at once. Watch that arc of flame. The danger of this next one, I must keep my distance from quite some feet away, because Navarre will have an internal explosion through the drinking of explosive, and like a human blowtorch, will expel from his mouth a flame 10 or 12 feet. Navarre. Yes. And by the way, we thank Navarre indeed for helping us answer this request. But he gives the advice to anyone that this is a very dangerous thing, and without years and years of study, it should not be attempted, of course. We thank Navarre for this, and we thank letter writer Donald Lee Edwards because you asked for it.
Let's suppose that sometime when you're out shopping, you bring home a jar of Skippy peanut butter. And let's go farther and suppose you're just a wee mite skeptical about all the claims we make for Skippy. For instance, we keep telling you that because Skippy is made by a new, exclusive, patented process, it does not taste like peanut butter. It does taste exactly like peanuts. Plump, selected, fresh roasted peanuts. But you're hard to convince. You've got to find out firsthand. So, you taste it. And you make the deliriously delightful discovery that it's true. Now, let's suppose that having done that, you put your jar up in the cupboard and you forget about it. Well, really, that's pretty hard to believe because Skippy has a flavor that men just can't forget, to say nothing of women and children. But just let's suppose that time goes by and by and by. And weeks later, you remember that jar of Skippy stashed away. And so you get it out. Now, what will happen? Will your Skippy still be fresh? Or will it have turned dry, sticky, or rancid? No, man. Your Skippy is still just as fresh, sweet, and easy to spread as the day it was born. That's because Skippy is the only peanut butter with the stale makers removed. And it's the truth. If you like peanuts, you'll like Skippy.
Well, I'm waiting for you in a very glamorous corner, Hollywood and Vine. Let's see. I'm waiting here. That's why we're here, because of this letter from a Mr. William Lincolnheimer, Jr. of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who writes a most interesting request. He said, "Dear Aunt Baker, last year my parents visited Hollywood and, as is customary, took all the Tanner Gray Line tours. But they're still talking about one tour in particular in which the bus driver pointed out many of the famous movie stars' homes. I would certainly like to go on that tour, too, but I can't get to Hollywood. Could you possibly manage to somehow take me on that same Tanner Gray Line tour on your show? Sincerely, William Lincolnheimer, Jr." All right, Mr. Lincolnheimer, because you asked for it, yes, we're going to take you on that tour right here, because we have with us a Tanner Gray Line bus, and it may be that the guide who is driving tonight could be the same one that guided your parents when they were here last year. I'd like you to meet our guide for tonight, George Lippman. George, hi. I guess we're all ready. There's no use waiting any longer. Mr. Lincolnheimer, come along. In fact, let's all go, huh?
Yes, here we are at Hollywood and Fine Art. Moving down Vine Street on your left is the famous Hollywood Brown Derby where the stars meet to eat.
Yeah.
And from here, let's move up on the Strip, the fabulous Sunset Strip, where on your right now you see the Players, owned and operated by Preston Sturgis. And on the left here is Ciro's. And here we are entering the city of Beverly Hills, the home of the stars. And this first home that we show you on your left is the home of Charles Boyer, the romantic star.
Ah, yes.
And here, the famous Beverly Hills Hotel. And
Right
running
up
up
the
past the
driveway.
driveway, yes, The Beverly Hills Hotel. And here at Sunset Boulevard and Beverly Drive, we'll turn on Beverly Drive, showing you this very lovely palm drive, the street lined with the very lovely Washingtonian fan palms and the Canary Island date palms interlaced. And here on your left is the first home, the home of Ginny Sims. No, aren't we
there's
lucky?
Yeah, the two youngsters.
Yeah, there's Ginny herself.
He's got a happy kind of motherly look at him.
Yeah.
Nice kid.
Where's that one going on?
Swimming pool. Yep.
Oh, I hope he doesn't fall in. I'm going to save him if he does.
He's a cute little tot, isn't he? Quite a large-sized pool there.
Yeah, very fine. You know, we have many, many pools in the private homes here in metropolitan Los Angeles, Art.
1 minute.
Goodbye, Jimmy.
Good luck.
Ginny.
Good idea.
And
All right, we're off
we
again.
move again. And here's the home of Gary Cooper here in Brentwood. On your left there, you can be seeing the doors taken from the church from where he was married.
Uh-huh.
And there's the Falcon's Lair, the former home of the late Rudolph Valentino.
Oh, Valentino. Yes. Uh-huh.
And this is the home of Edmund Lowe, the very famous Captain Flag.
Yeah.
Oh, and aren't we lucky? There he is himself in person.
Hi, Eddie. Say, he's a grand guy, too, believe me. Likes to putter around the garden.
Telling a petunia.
For a boutonniere?
Yes, I suppose he has an
no.
appointment, and he's leaving us. Goodbye,
I'm
Ed.
sorry, Eddie.
Well, here we go, in the home of Deborah Carr, you see here through the trees, the MGM star of King Solomon's Mines.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and there's the gate entrance to the home of Shirley Temple, And there's the letterbox, the mailbox that you hear so much about. That's the home of Shirley Temple. And the Downs family.
Old
Gee,
Johnny Downs. Yeah.
And his family. But they're going to have
youngsters, yeah.
I bet they're going to have a baseball game. He looks like he's going to be the batter. Or maybe Mama will be the batter.
I guess Johnny's going to do the pitching.
Yeah.
Winding up.
Mama's going to be the batter.
She won't hit
What does
it.
that look like?
Hey,
hit.
right through the second baseline there, through the pitcher. Come on. Oh, he muffed it. She's safe at home. They're a nice couple. Johnny's the sweetest guy, I want to tell you, always has been. And there's the four of them, 1 down, 2 down, 3rd down, and 4th down. There's a lovely family there.
All the 6 downs.
They're my favorite family there.
Well, let's
Here we
go
go.
again, Art.
Where to
This
now?
time, we go through the Bel Air district. This is the very exclusive track. And there, the doors, the gates to the home of Joey Brown, the famous comedian. And there's the bell that was taken from one of his pictures. That's the bell from one of Joey Brown's pictures. And you're looking through the driveway now. The home here you see is the home of Robert Taylor, the very beautifully landscaped grounds here and swimming pool in the foreground.
He's got a very spacious ground.
Oh, yes.
That runs all the way back to the property there. To that line.
That's the home of Robert Taylor. And there's the home of Barbara Lawrence. Wow, that's a very lovely home, and we're sure lucky today. There's Barbara herself.
She looks charming, huh?
Sure does.
Ah, yeah.
Enjoying the California sunshine.
A lovely smile. So long. So long, dear boy.
And we'll roll again.
Where to now?
Well, we'll just swing around here, Art, and head back down the Sunset Strip. That's Maxim's you see on the left, and the famous bit of Sweden, famous for its smorgasbord. And from here, past the Mocambo nightclub. Yes.
Joe Lewis was there just recently.
Yeah, and that's Schwab's Pharmacy that you hear so much about. And here on your left is Sid Grauman's famous Chinese theater, where some of Hollywood's greatest pictures have had their glittering premieres.
That is a great place, isn't it, huh?
Oh, yes.
Yes, and there's the forecourt there, where they've had, I guess, footprints, horse prints, the nose of Schnozzle Durante, and even one of the beers was put there of Monty Woolley. Oh, looks like we're headed back. Yeah. I think the tour is just about coming to a close. If I'm not mistaken, here we are, right about where we started, at Hollywood and Vine Street. Of course, I'd like you to know that this was condensed from what would be a 3-hour tour on Tanner Motor Tours, the Gray Line. We've condensed it into 5 minutes. All right, everybody, out. Here you go. Well, that was a great trip, wasn't it? We enjoyed that, I want to tell you. I'm so glad that you asked for this, because I certainly enjoyed it myself. It was quite a trip here. We condensed it, of course. But this very able guide of ours, George Lippman, I think we'll thank you, George, very much. And Tanner's Gray Line Tours, when you come out here, you may have George as your guide, too. So, Mr. Lincolnheimer, thank you, because you asked for it. And that reminds me, nothing happens on this show until you give us your orders, you know? In other words, I'd like you to put on your thinking cap. Give us a challenge. Maybe this reminds you of something. What do you want? What do you want on your television set right in your own home? That's our job here. And so when you do get an idea, I want you to jot it down right away and send it to us at this address. You asked for it. Box 323, Hollywood 28, California. You got that? That's 323, Hollywood 28, California. And thank you. Good evening. See you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel very proud in presenting to you a man who has 3 titles, enormous titles, as being the most perfectly developed body of the American manhood. He has the title Imagine. 3 titles. One of them is Mr. California, Mr. America, and Mr. World. That was in competition with 16 other nationalities. Now, this comes as a request from Mrs. Evelyn... no, I got the wrong one here. Who sent in the request for this one? I forget. Oh, Ann Carlock. Yes, it would be a lady at Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm mighty glad she sent it in. She wants to meet the present title holder of Mr. America, not knowing it was Mr. World also, and wants to know about him. His name, Miss Carlock, is John Forbotnik, and he represents the Physical Services Gymnasium of West Los Angeles. And winning these 3 titles, of course, there are 3 definite poses from which they are judged. I'm going to ask John, if he will, please give us the 3 poses that the judging comes from. John, the front pose, please. Now the side. And from the rear. Thank you. And as a reporter, of course, we're always interested in measurements. Neck size, please.
17 inches.
17. Shoulders.
22 inches across.
22. Chest.
50 inches expanded.
Bicep.
18 inches.
Waist.
31 inches.
I can see where the judges would choose you, John. Indeed, I want to add this to it because you'll be interested in knowing about him. John has a very definite mission in life. Through his knowledge of the building of the human body, he is aiding and rehabilitating our disabled veterans, spending many hours at hospitals and raises their morale and gives them bodybuilding exercise. We thank you very much. Congratulations on your work. And thank you, Ann Carlock, because you asked for it. This instrument that you are looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is a very rare and ancient dulcimer. So ancient in origin, it is mentioned in the Bible, in the book of Daniel, I believe. And the musician who is playing this is also very rare and very charming. My favorite little lady, Aunt Nellie, we call her. How do you do, Aunt Nellie? I'm glad to see you indeed. Now, I'm here for this reason, because a Mrs. A.G. Friedman of North Hollywood sent us a request. And I want to tell you, if she hadn't sent it in, I'd be tempted to send it myself. Because here's what she wants. She would like to see Aunt Nellie, everyone knows her, it's Nellie McKinney, play a favorite number of hers like she does down sitting on the porch at Knott's Berry Farm in Ghost Town. And she has thousands of admirers all over. I bet you many of you in any state in the Union have kind of fallen in love with Aunt Nellie here. Yes, they have. All right, now, she wants your favorite number. We want to listen to it. What do you think you're in a mood for?
I believe I'll play Mountain Hornpipe.
Mountain Hornpipe, I'd like. Did you say pretty good? Pretty good nothing. That's colossal. This is not a miniature thrown from right over there. This is the 40-foot regulation pitch that was made there. And this comes from E.V. Clausen of San Francisco. Let me see. It's an interesting letter here. It says, Art Baker, like some 5 million other horseshoe players in America, I find it isn't easy to throw a ringer. What amazes me is that some of the experts are so proficient that they can make one ringer after another. And I would like to watch one of those real expert horseshoe pitchers do his stuff. All right, sir, we've gathered up the shoes for you here, and you want an expert, do you? We are very fortunate, and we feel very proud to present to you the expert, believe me. This is world champion trick horseshoe pitcher, Jimmy Risk. Watch this first one. This is the balloon toss. Yes, sir. Ringer. It's gone. Right. This charming lady is Mrs. Risk, who's standing there very complacently, but with Jimmy there is no risk. Watch. Now we come to a William Tell overture, you might call it. You'll expect, of course, the preparation, an apple. Placed not upon the head, but upon peg number 1, center. Instead of shooting the apple, you will see it toss. Watch. it up again. Once more. Woo! No wonder the apple's scared. Here we go. It's a ringer. Now we'll light a match for you. Ah, got a light? Now we put the light out, right. And now, my friends, with those ringers, here comes what requires expert skill. It really, believe me, Jimmy has. This will be through a covered hoop, a paper covered hoop, which practically covers your target. This requires an aim. Ringer. Thank very much Jimmy Ritz, who is a world champion trick horseshoe pitcher. And E.V. Clausen has no reason now not to make a ringer every time when he goes out in the barnyard. Mr. Clausen, we're grateful because you asked for it.
This, my friends, is a peanut. As you can see, it's no ordinary peanut, but a big, irresistible, triple-jointed, fresh-roasted peanut. And it's typical of the elite, high-toned, snooty peanuts that go into the making of Skippy. Skippy peanut butter. Now here, in creamy style Skippy, you have those plump, selected, fresh roasted peanuts, triple milled to a buttery smoothness, so it goes on a cracker or a slice of bread at the slightest touch of a butter knife. Here, in chunk style Skippy, you have the same thing exactly, but with crunchy little nuggets of fresh roasted chopped peanuts added. They're sprinkled throughout the entire jar. Both styles are made by that famous exclusive Skippy process. That means there's never a trace of oil separation, no dryness, rancidity, or stickiness. Skippy is easy to digest, and both styles taste exactly like this. But with the shucks removed, of course. So it really doesn't matter whether you like peanut butter as such or not. If you like peanuts, you'll like Skippy, and that's for sure.
Dear Art Baker, I've been a long-time fan of Buddy Epsen's unique comedy dancing in the movies, but I've never seen him on television. Could you possibly get him to do one of his famous routines on your show? Sincerely, Mrs. Evelyn Trahan, San Francisco. Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Trahan, for asking for me.
Yes, Buddy Epsen is here to answer your request, Mrs. Mahan. Mrs. Trahan of San Francisco. In order to do that, we're going back to the first time, I guess a number of years ago, when Buddy first faced the cameras. It was quite a picture, believe me. It starred Barbara Stanwyck and Joel McCrae, Walter Brennan. It was Banjo on My Knee. Really a picture. The setting is the New Orleans Waterfront Cafe after closing time. Do you remember this, Mrs. Trahan? memories to your fans. There, also that banjo on my knee. I love that tune in there.
I'm glad
yes,
you like
I remember you sang in the thing too.
Yeah.
Say, I have the envelope to the letter. You have the letter. I remember it. It had a postscript. And I wonder what we can do about that. That was for your sister, who also was with you, the dancing Epsens.
That's right. You know, Art, I had a terrible time convincing my sister that she should leave her dancing school. You see, she's been devoting most of her time to her dancing school in Pacific Palisades, California.
I saw a big write-up in Life magazines, had the cover page on it.
That's right. But when I told her that Mrs. Trahan asked for it, she came right on down.
I think that's
Now, this is kind of a special occasion because we haven't danced together since Broadway Melody. The picture, you remember?
Yes, I do.
So we want to do tonight a number that we first did in the Ziegfeld Follies, and this will be our first time dancing on television.
Great.
And
What's the
it's called
tune?
I Like the Likes of You.
That's a good one. Now, you've asked for the nicest things for our orders for this week. We thank very much indeed the very busy Epsen family. Vilma will be back teaching youngsters to dance. She's preparing for a great big recital right now. Appreciate her being here. Buddy will be facing the cameras again. He just finished Silver City Bonanza. And we thank very much the busy dancing Epsens for answering that. And for you, Mrs. Trahan, I hope you're satisfied because you asked for it. Running out of time here. We'll be awaiting your instructions for next week, will you? On behalf of our sponsors, Skippy Peanut Butter, the world's largest selling, I want to say I'll see you next week. Long.